Hey everybody, this is Guy Magno here. Welcome back to a Chit Chat, a Switchboard podcast. So thankful to have you listening wherever you are and whatever you're doing today. We just wanted you to know how thankful we are that you're listening. This is a fun little growing community here, and having all of you fine Central Minnesota folks listening, it means a lot. So we really appreciate it. I just got done recording today's podcast with my dear friend Tyler Walz. Tyler and I have known each other for a long time. We were neighbors, even though we didn't really know each other. But we talked about that. We talked about really good food and what you're passionate about, and kind of just so many other things, and his work and what he does as a financial planner. It was a really, really fun conversation. So I'm excited for you to listen to it now. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Tyler, my friend, thanks for coming and joining us on the Chit Chat podcast. Would you just start, maybe introduce yourself, tell us who you are. And while you're doing that, I'm going to pour us a little cup of coffee. All right?
It's about time. Thanks. So my name's Tyler Walz. I have been in the St. Cloud area for 37 years because that's how old I am. I've never left. Born and raised in Sartell. So I always joke with people, if you ever need to get, no thanks, just black for me. If you ever need to get through the gates into the city, just mention my name. I'm a lifelong resident. I can help get you in there.
Uh-huh.
But
do you have a key as well?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. I share that with people that want to visit. Mm-hmm. So I went to Sartell High School. I graduated right around the same time as you.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, we graduated together.
No.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow,
From Sartell.
And where in Sartell did you go?
So should we just jump right into it? So I grew up on 4th Street North.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I grew up on 3rd Street North, kind of right in the middle of the block.
Yeah. Yeah. We were like a brownish rambler.
Wow. Yeah. Kind of stucco.
You were actually, your backyard touched right up against ours.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
So crazy.
But you were like kind of a weird homeschool kid, so I didn't want to hang out with you much.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Right. You were kind of that mean jock guy, and I didn't know how to engage with you because you were so cool.
Definitely a jock guy. JV tennis my senior year.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
To us theater kids, you're all the same. Hey, coffee here. We're drinking. This is from Costa Rica.
Delicious.
A little citrusy and raspberry notes in that.
You know, I'm not saying this to be like smart.
Yep.
I did pick up a little citrus.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I just assumed it was because the little fancy drip thing versus the Mr. Coffee brewer.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a little bit of both of that. You know, when you brew it well, some more of that nuance comes up. But
love it.
But in all seriousness, Tyler and I, we were backdoor neighbors and didn't know each other one bit. Like
I knew who you were.
Yeah, of course. Sartell was not that big.
Yeah. Like, I remember having interactions with you.
Yeah, I mean, barely.
Barely. But I remember you mainly from band, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I was a trumpet, French horn guy.
Yeah. I'm over a saxophone, kind of woodwindy kind of guy myself.
Yeah. I know when you remember you go into band and you try out the instruments, and clarinet was one that like I was scored high on, but there was no way I was going to play clarinet.
No chance.
Yeah.
Here's the crazy thing. Now at the age of 38 years old, I almost wish I could have convinced 5th grade guy to do the clarinet, because the clarinet is such an underrated, incredible jazz instrument.
Oh.
Some like really incredible, some of my favorite jazz music is actually clarinet. It's so warm and it's just got a really, really cool sound. But again, there was no way I was going to convince.
The only clarinet player I can think of is Kenny G.
And he's not a clarinet player.
But doesn't he play it sometimes?
No, that's
Okay.
a soprano sax, which is like a similar like shape to a clarinet.
My bad. Then I know 0. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But I knew your brothers a little bit better.
Yeah.
Not well. Yes, this is a fascinating thing. Get to know your neighbors. I mean, Tyler's today in 2024 is one of my closest friends. And I think we could have been like nice high school friends, but we didn't like actually kind of like meet and become friends until we were like both back in St. Cloud and
is the weirdest thing.
Adults and having kids and all that stuff.
my next memory of you after high school,
Yeah.
because no offense, I probably didn't think about you again until I saw you at
Not
Black.
once?
Not once, because
Oh.
well, maybe I did because you were living sort of behind us.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I was bartending at Blackberry Ridge wedding, and you were doing photography.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you were there, and then like I remember talking to you. We like kind of reconnected. Hey, how are you? And thought you were nice, whatever. And then
Nothing.
yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Few year hiatus. Don't know how long it was, and then all of a sudden, like, why did we reconnect after that? I remember we did like some networking stuff or whatever,
Yeah.
but there was something in there.
I think what it was is you asked if I would take pictures of Nora
That
when
could have
she
been
was,
what it was.
probably six. I think it was maybe her 6-month photo.
Probably.
And so like from that moment, we just have been connected a lot ever since. But one kind of like fun, silly little story about your brothers. You know, they're substantially older or substantially younger than we were. And I was in my backyard. You know, I was like it's called a Royal Ranger. It's a boy, kind of like a Boy Scout. And I was building forts. We stringing up some like long
right.
logs in between trees. I was using my twine, doing all of my special kinds of like rope work because I was pretty good at it. And I was out there, I had a hatchet, and I'm out there like doing stuff. And your little brothers come out and they're standing there and they're like eyes wide and they're asking all these questions about it, and they want to help. And so I'm like, being careful with all the stuff, but like kind of letting them help and stuff. They're like, these cute little dudes or whatever. And Tanner wanted to grab the hatchet.
Was it Tanner or Trey?
Oh, it was Trey.
Yeah,
It was Trey.
Yeah,
it was Trey.
this, yeah.
And he wanted to grab the hatchet. I was like, well, I was like, and he said, ooh, could I use the axe? And I was like, well, no, it's a hatchet. Here's the difference between axe and a hatchet. Started explaining that to him. And he's like, oh, okay. And then, maybe 20 minutes later, your mom is just on the deck and she's like, hey, boys, come here. And I didn't think anything of it. Could have been lunchtime or nap time. I don't know, whatever. And then I just hear this like this exclamation, "It's not an axe, Mom. It's a hatchet." And comes running back down. I was like, I don't know anything about what your mom said, except I know exactly what your mom said.
Yeah, I guarantee. Yeah, my mom's
was
a natural
nervous.
worrier.
Yeah.
And I guarantee.
Hey, Barbo.
Yeah. Hey, Mom. They're in Scotland right now.
Mm-hmm.
So 100%. What it was she basically said, "You're gonna chop your arm off.
Yeah.
Get away from him."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so good. But I think we really kind of rekindled when I started taking pictures for your family.
Yeah.
And so right now, I work at Switchboard, which doesn't do family photos, but still to this day, I shoot for you guys probably at least once a year. Well, I guess it's at least twice a year because of both your kiddos. And
Yeah.
I think because Nora's
She'll be 8 in June.
yeah. So I've been photographing your family at least once, maybe twice or 3 times a year, every year now for like 8 years.
Yeah.
And there are still a handful of families that I've kind of like kept up a pace similar to that with, even though I don't shoot that kind of stuff anymore. And I think it's one of my very favorite things that I get to shoot every year because it's like building this anthology of a family, which I think is so much fun. So like I kind of applaud you guys, and I think it's super cool that like you guys continue to do that. I love when I show up in your office, and it's not just because it's my work, but like at your office and at your home, just the way that you continue to like hang really fun pictures of your kids. And,
Yeah, I love it.
yeah, I think it's super, super fun. And I think, if you families, if you're listening to that, you should find a photographer who would kind of like follow you. I think it's fun kind of like having a
Guy does great work.
but I don't do that kind of work anymore. But you should you should actually find someone to do that, because it's like from the photographer's perspective, it's so fun. Like I know your kids, and I've got to see all of the little different stages of Nora's giant personality and just like how that has like evolved and changed over the years. And
now like she finds her way into like Gus's 2-year-old
Yes.
photos. She finds her way in, and all of a sudden Gus is done, and then it's like, well, Nora, let's
Back
take
to
a few.
Nora,
And
yeah.
then she's like doing like this little modeling shoot. And the last ones I just loved because she's never wore jeans in her entire life. 8 years in, and it's only been like sweats or leggings or whatever. And now she's really getting into jeans. And at that that day she wore jeans. So like she's got somewhere, she's got like her knees up by her face, and she just like got this sweet little smile.
Yeah.
And they just like kill me.
It's fun.
And then like looking back at old ones, obviously Gus's are great too, but I only have 2 years worth where Nora's got these old ones, and I always refer like to when she was like maybe 3 or 4, she had like space buns, and she has great hair, whatever. So she always does all these cool styles.
A space bun is like on the top, like they almost look like pom poms, or like the little, like on the top of a big stocking cap, you know, like that little thing. 2 of them up top. That's what a space bun is. In case
you don't have daughters or, you know, whatever, get into that stuff.
Or NCAA basketball. If the women's NCAA tournament isn't your thing, because there was that one, but that's not really you. There's the center from Iowa. She had the little space buns. And every game I watch is like, that's Nora.
Oh, yeah. Great space buns.
Great.
Yeah. But I just love, like, I'll refer back to her, like, why don't you do space buns again? She's like, Dad, you know, but it's fun.
That's what I was for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then it's like transformed into this whole thing where, like, how I compensate you for those photos is like, we go to dinner and like do like a double date with our wives, and it's awesome because it forces us to like get out and do those things you probably wouldn't otherwise, and then I get to feel really cool because I pick up the bill.
So here's something that's really, really fun is like just in general, when you find people that share like similar interests, it's fun to like do stuff with those people. I really love good food. I love not like fancy food, like you have to have your pinky up when you're sipping your tea or anything stupid like that, but just people that like care about it and really care about craft. And there's not like obscene amounts of that stuff here in St. Cloud. And so we go to the Metro a fair bit and have dinner. And Tyler and I have had some really, really fun dinners because Tyler cares as much or more as I do about really fun kind of fine cooking and stuff. So my favorite
hobby interest that I have is food. That's my favorite. I love it even more than golf, and I love it. Yes, I love it more than anything. Food and cooking.
Just 1 second. Do we have like a camera, guys? Do we have like a playback feature here? Could we like see that on a screen?
I'll look into the camera. I love food and cooking more than golf.
Wow. Again.
I love golf, but
I know you love golf.
There's like, and then I've also realized, especially as I get older, granted, again, I'm only 37, but I just like nice things. It doesn't mean it has to be like expensive things or fancy things, but I just like good quality and good restaurant food, like where they're just all these crazy details that they're attentive to. I just love that stuff. So like I will overpay grossly for a sweet dinner, and there's people that aren't interested in that would be like, I can't believe you spent money on that. But that's like what Krista and I like to do, are those cool experiences with food.
I think when you like break down what a really nice meal, like what some of the things are that you're paying for in it, like for example, like it's a meal, right? So like if you go and eat anywhere, you're spending something for food, right? Then there's, to me anyway, like there is like, it's like going to a theater. When we were at Demi, which is, if you haven't been to Demi in Minneapolis, I would say save some pennies, get on their calendar as best you can, and you should go. It's an unbelievable experience. But it's, for me anyway, it's sitting there and watching them cook. There's only like 20 seats in the whole restaurant, and you sit in a U around the kitchen and watching them. I mean, I have never been to a movie or a theater or a concert that I think I enjoyed more.
There's more people in the kitchen than there are guests dining there.
Yep. And just watching them do that, and because I care and kind of know a little bit about it, like watching the process unfold of like, how did we get that so fast? Oh my word, it's because that thing's happening. And just like trying to like how do you figure out this really big, robust system that they are completely downplaying, right? Because if they made much of the system, you kind of like, it takes the viewer out of it, the guest out of it. It's just a riot to me. So you got like food in there, you have entertainment, and then I don't know how to like quantify this, but I have thought about that meal. It is occupied brain space.
I've thought about you eating
times
at Demi because we like watched you. Because you would like put a spoonful or a forkful of something into your mouth, and then you were sitting there and just like closing your eyes and like just enjoying because there's so much going on, and it's like it's just a cool experience.
It is.
Not everybody will get it.
No.
Some people will be like, but
And hopefully people that don't care for that, they have something that they can kind of like geek out on.
Exactly.
That they kind of get like, oh yeah, most of the world doesn't care about
Yeah.
my screwdriver collection or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like cars. I just can't ever get into cars.
Yeah.
My dad has an old car. My father-in-law has an old car.
Do you know what's fun? Do you know how I know you're not into cars? Because you told me they each have old car, which is like the most nondescript way of saying people that are into cars are like, my dad's got a 75
block.
Nova.
Yeah,
you know,
whatever.
Like, yeah, it's old and it's in there.
So I know what it is,
Okay.
which is kind of a cool little quick story. When I met my wife,
Yep.
we were doing the get to know you stuff, and we were talking, and somehow it came up, we were just talking about family. She said, I don't remember who said it first, whatever. I said, my dad has a 69 Z28 Camaro. And she's like, my dad has a 69 Z28 Camaro.
Oh.
So right then and there, I was like, okay, well, our dads are going to get along, so that's great. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Sweet. But yeah, people get into their things and hopefully, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of fun that hopefully everybody has kind of something that they can kind of like get passionate about and kind of geek out about.
Exactly.
I think that's a fun part of
I'm
life.
not trying to be snooty on the food thing.
Right.
I'll still go hang out with the boys and have a slice of Jack's Pizza or 3. I still get down with those things. I'm just saying, like, exactly. That's like the one thing that I will spend money on
Yeah. Yeah.
that other people might think is silly.
So here's the deal, Demi. The time that we were there, it was mashed potatoes. Okay, here it is.
Oh yeah.
Just lay it out. Just gonna like lay it all out here. It was just mashed potatoes, and I have thought about those mashed potatoes. I think every time I've eaten a potato of any kind, it's the humblest of all ingredients, and I have never experienced something quite as profound.
And to give you, for those people that aren't familiar with Demi, to give you an idea, like how it works is you, on like the first of the month, they open up the calendar for the next month, and you have to get on there and like make your reservations, and you prepay. And you don't just prepay for your meal, you also prepay, like if you want to, when you get there, if you want to have a cocktail, there's like I won't even say a bartender, I'll say like an elite mixologist that's like they're basically at the host table, and they will be like, what do you like? Like they don't have a drink menu, they're just like, what do you like? And then they'll make up whatever cocktail based on whatever flavors.
And if you don't know what kind of cocktail you like, what kind of food do you like? Like
Yeah.
they'll ask you other kinds of things. They just like try to get to know and understand your palate, and then from there.
And so you're prepaying for everything. And I've been there twice. The first time I went, we prepaid. When we got there, we ended up adding a wine pairing because they do offer that. You can prepay for that, but we didn't at the time. Anyway, we get there, and I would recommend the wine pairing because it's just cool having them come out. There's 2 sommeliers for like 20 people, and they come out and they explain like this bottle of wine is from this little family farm in Italy and whatever, go all into it. But it does like enhance the whole experience. Yeah. But the first time we went, they didn't offer any add-on dishes. The second time we're with Magnos, and they come around and they're like, it's truffle season. And they like open this box, and there's like these big truffles. I don't know if I've ever actually had like a truffle. I've maybe had like truffle fries or something, but never like a real elite truffle. So I'm like, that looks awesome. And they're like, we're offering this potato dish. You can add it on to like, there's like kind of a main course in the middle of the meal. There's no menu. They just have stuff come out. They're like, with this beef course, you can add on this potato. And it was something ridiculous for like a little dish of potato. It was like $20 or $25, which every time you're going to be like, no, I'm not doing that, except it's Demi. So you have to be like, of course we'll try a potato dish for what I could buy 30 pounds of potatoes for.
Yeah, I think the only mistake that we made that night
It was not getting 2 or 3 of those.
is that we ordered one.
We
and
got
shared
one.
it. We ordered
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
And we had like one bite each, and everybody was like, that was probably
What
the
just
best thing in the meal.
What just happened?
It was like a potato cooked 3 different ways put together, which doesn't, what we're saying doesn't even do it justice.
No.
But it was really cool.
Yeah. Anyway, food experiences like that are super, super, super fun. Yeah, super fun. Well, sweet. Tyler, one of my favorite things about our podcast is talking to interesting people that, I enjoy, and and just like hearing what kind of makes them tick. What are they passionate about? And would you just like tell us a little bit about your job? I've heard you talk about like why you love your job and why you love helping people, and maybe just tell us a little bit about what you do at Jacobs.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really get far on my, the stuff about me anyway when I started this
Mashed
podcast
potatoes,
with
I
you.
think.
Yeah, we got to mashed potatoes and then
So
I stopped.
fast.
So thanks for getting us back on track.
Sure.
Great host.
Thank you.
So I graduated from St. Cloud State. Again, never got far. And then right out of college, I can't remember about when I graduated. I think it was 2010. So the job market was still maybe a little iffy. I kind of just took the first job offer that came my way. I was just happy to get out there and start working. So I started, I graduated with a finance degree, and then I got into, trucking. So that makes sense. But I worked at a trucking brokerage firm for 4 years out of college. During those 4 years, great, met tons of great people, had fun doing it. I just knew I kind of wanted to do something different. Yeah. I just knew I wasn't going to stay in that industry. So I started asking around. Financial advising, financial planning was never on my radar. And then I met somebody. I kind of didn't want to do it because I didn't want to. I kind of felt almost like I had advisors approach me when I had $0, like graduating from college. And it just sort of felt like a pest almost, and I never really wanted to get into it for that reason. But then I don't know why, for some reason, I decided to take the leap. Recruiters are pretty powerful and they can kind of, talk you into things, but I'm glad I did. 'Cause here I am over 8 years later, I'm still in the industry. And where am I going with this? What are we talking about?
What do you do?
Yeah. Okay. Obviously we'll cut that part out.
No.
So I'm at Jacobs Financial, and we do planning for individuals, families, business owners. And essentially, I always tell Nora, my 8-year-old daughter, when I explain like what we do, we help people save money and plan for their futures. Like I just keep it simple in that way.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't really know where to start. They don't even know necessarily what options are available to them. They just kind of have this broad idea of what they want to do, and they just need somebody to help guide them along the way. And that's what we do. Awesome team. So it's a family-owned business. There's 8 advisors. I think we're up to 6 staff now. I hope that's right. But we celebrated last summer 50 years in the business. Jim Jacobs, 73 years old, founder, still working, still there. So it's just kind of cool to see that they've built these relationships. Jim mainly has built these over 50 years. He's got 2 of his kids, Andy and Dave, with us too. They're both, I think, over 20 years now. So it's just cool to see Jim now at 73. Like, part of me is like, okay, do I still want to be working at 73? No. But I understand the relationships you build in the career path in the industry. It's got to be hard to like exit, But that's what attracted me to it. Was I like connecting with people. I love like helping people, connecting people to other people that can help them. I love doing that. And that's what we're just kind of a quarterback for people, like cool. With their whole situation. So
that's cool. Yeah. I mean, you have however many years now you've been helping Cassie and I'm not inclined in that kind of way. My mind, I don't spend any time thinking about any of that. And so just having you help us has been really, really helpful. So yeah, appreciate all that you do there.
Yeah.
For us. What's, like as you're, I guess early-ish, right? I mean, I guess we're mid to late 30s, whatever, early-ish in this career. What have you seen that's kind of like happened in the kind of the financial space, and what do you think's coming? I mean, I know that like that's a big, heavy question, come up in an election year and everything, but like, what do you think the landscape kind of looks like right now?
Like one thing that I didn't, so one thing I didn't realize getting into it is like how often rules change. Just things are constantly changing. We offer, like, for clients, we're offering different webinars or in-person education sessions regarding changes on all different kinds of topics, whether it's 401k plans or IRAs or whatever it might be. There's just constantly evolving, constantly changing. So that was one unexpected thing. Where it's going, I think there's always going to be a need for human connection in our industry, because it's personal finance, it's personal, it needs, like, people's money is so emotional to them. So they always have to have a third party, like, hopefully unbiased, objective person there.
And who actually cares for them.
Exactly. To, like, navigate emotional moments with their finances.
Yeah.
Because that's really where the value of somebody in our industry comes into play.
Right.
It's less on, like, the specific things that you're investing in. It's more on that, like, not making decisions that are going to harm you.
Yeah.
Essentially.
What percentage of your job is, like, kind of talking people off the edge? You know, like, they come in and they, like, really want to make a really bad decision, and you just have to, like, talk them through it.
So I really got to experience that during COVID. Because we had a big drop in the markets, and that was really my first taste of it, because when I got licensed, it was like 2015 or 2016. So I hadn't really experienced, like, a ton of volatility and big swings. That rolled around, and that was, like, great experience for me. I always knew those conversations. You had them occasionally, but that was, like, really dive in.
Yeah.
And a lot of phone calls. So at that time, that was like 90% of my conversations was that.
Yeah.
Now I'd say, it certainly is a regular conversation that you have, but it's not the bulk. You kind of set expectations, hopefully, with clients initially when you meet them, and just, like, that initial education of, hey, this is our philosophy, like, long-term, understanding your timelines and those things. So
It's cool.
yeah.
One of my favorite jokes, when, like, during the heart of COVID, when all of this stuff was going crazy, I used to love calling Tyler and just saying, like, how's my money doing? Am I rich? And because I knew those were the conversations that he was having all the time. And I had no clue what was going on, because I don't know anything about any of that, and I don't actually care. So.
That's the spirit.
Did you like those? Did you like those calls?
Yeah,
Should I
they're
keep that
great.
stuff coming?
Yeah, I love them. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that, I had said before, and just kind of thinking about you and thinking about our friendship and some of the fun stuff that we kind of do together, I think there's something sweet about, like, surrounding yourself and having people in your life that you care about, and this will be just forever, like, a thing that I appreciate about you and your parents, or about your whole family, and including your parents, who, Barbo and Tim, hello, they're also still my neighbors. The day that my dad died, we were going to watch, it was the day of the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And we had planned that day of, like, watching the Super Bowl together in your parents' garage and hanging out and stuff. And then I got home from church, and we got the phone call that my dad was dying, and that we needed to, like, get to the hospital quick. And then just that whole thing, which I don't know if this is the the time to share all of that, but it's that whole process of, like, watching your dad actually die, and
Yeah.
kind of how heavy that is. And then it's just done, and you start the grieving process, but you don't even know what really to think about it yet. And then all of a sudden you're just back at home, and it's 3:00, and I was like, I'm supposed to go to the Walz's right now to watch the Super Bowl. And it just wasn't even a question about, like, whether or not I could go.
Yeah.
And just, like, who you are and who your parents are. I know if I had called you and said, hey, we're not coming, you would have understood. But it felt like I couldn't do that, because I kind of, like, I needed you guys.
Yeah.
Like, it was scheduled almost, like, for a reason. And that we went, and you guys were so sweet, of course. And just...
I still remember your text.
Yeah.
So, and now every Super Bowl,
Yeah.
I think about your dad.
Yeah.
For that reason.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know your dad well, but just that whole day
Yeah.
and evening. So I still remember like we're sitting there and I knew he wasn't doing well and all those sorts of things. But all of a sudden you texted, I think Cassie texted first and just explained, hey, you know, he had passed and we're sitting there literally waiting for the Super Bowl to start. It's like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And in my parents' garage. And then I remember you had texted and you were like, we're going to come over as long as you promise not to make it weird. Like you just wanted like a normal, you like being around people.
Yeah.
And you just wanted to be around people.
Yeah.
And have it be like this normal Super Bowl evening, even though this
Horrific thing that just happened.
awful thing just happened.
Yeah.
And I don't mind acting like nothing happened for a few hours. I'm good at that. So I just remember, yeah, sounds good. And then I just kind of gave everybody the heads up. Hey, they're going to come over. We're just going to watch the Super Bowl.
Yep. And I mean, to your whole family's credit, like you were so warm and gracious. You hugged all of us. And then we just were able to kind of like watch some football together. And
then you ate like 3 carrot cake cupcakes. Yeah, because you said you're eating your feelings. I remember that too. And you were like on this like big, like you're doing like losing a lot of weight.
I was losing
and
tons of weight.
And you just crushed that.
Yeah. I'm gonna have this carrot cake. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks to you and your sweet family for
sure.
just kind of like being there for us in that moment. And yeah, I'll always remember
That's what lifelong neighbors do.
Especially lifelong neighbors that have been as close as we have for as long as we have.
We grew up together.
That's right. That's so good. Okay, Tyler, what? Just as we're kind of rounding the corner here, like what's next for you guys? What's next for the Walz family? What's next for your career? What's happening?
Well, we're pregnant. Just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Krista, yeah, congrats.
I'm totally kidding. I just felt like saying that in that moment. What's next for us? Well, at some point we would like to build a house.
Yeah.
But we're just kind of waiting on that. So that's maybe like, that's more longer term.
Yeah.
We're in the same house we bought 12 years ago,
Yeah.
which is great. Mm-hmm. I love it.
They bought a piece of land, by the way, that they're planning on building it. And when they bought it, we got to go and walk it. And it was so fun to like dream with you as you're like, I kind of like this right here. And just, it's a beautiful, really beautiful little slice of heaven.
And it's, even though like there's no plans in the very near future to do it, it's just like fun to like think about all the time. Oh, when we do this is like, you know, Krista's got, I'm sure,
all
gigantic folders on her phone saved with screenshots of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's somewhere there. Right now, we bought this like little tiny cabin, and it's right next to some of our best friends, and it's just this great spot. We love it. We kind of fell into this opportunity. So it started out with, okay, we got this great deal on this. It's like 400 or 500 square feet, tiny 1 bed, 1 bath on a great little lake. All right, awesome. We're going to just go in and we're going to paint all this pine, whatever, board on the walls. And we're going to just kind of clean it up, redo some flooring. As we're doing that, and we're ripping out the flooring, these 2 mice, like the size of Twinkies, jump out of the wall. And it just opened up this can of worms.
Poor Krista.
So I thought she jumped in the lake in like the beginning of March, but she didn't. She just ran over to the neighbor's house. So it's turned into like doing some flooring and painting a little bit to literally gutting it down to the studs. And fortunately, my dad is an electrician. So like he's going to rewire everything. There's all kinds of stuff, right? That is our project right now. That's going to be like our summer thing. It sounds like this horrendous thing and a lot of like work. We love doing that stuff. Yeah. We've redone our whole house.
You guys are like some of the most project people in my whole life.
I get it from my parents.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, being neighbors with them, you've seen it. Like always kind of got to have something that you're working on. Yeah. So that's like our thing right now. And it's really fun. Like my wife really likes the design piece of it and like picking stuff out. And I like ripping things apart, and I've kind of started to really get into like just enjoying the tools. Like I've accumulated tools over the last 4 years. It started like in COVID.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do anything. And then I just decided that I was going to redo the trim in our house, and we redid a bunch of stuff in our house. And through that, I realized like, hey, I'm actually like pretty decent at this, and it actually like doesn't look horrible.
If you need anybody to run a bead of caulk, I don't know someone better at running a bead of caulk than Tyler Walz.
I will only do it if you have white trim and light, almost white walls, because then you can't see the smudging. That's the secret for me. But yeah, I've just like really gotten into the tools, handyman stuff, and I'm trying to learn more. Fortunately, I have a dad that knows how to do like almost everything.
Yeah.
That's the fortunate part. The unfortunate part is like, I can call him with a question and I'll be like, hey Dad, I have this new light fixture and I'm going to put it here. Like I'll ask him some simple question and he'll start to answer, and then he'll just say, well,
I'll just come over.
well, I'll be over in like 10 minutes. And he like, will just come do it, which is awesome. But at some point I should probably start to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's just because they live so close, and that's the type of guy he is.
Well, sweet. I can't wait to see what the cabin looks like when it's...
Can I give a shout out to our Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay.
A plug. Absolutely.
So I'm not on the Insta. I think I still do have an Insta, but I never go on it. I'm pretty much off of all social media. But I came up with the handle. It's called These Four Walls, W-A-L-Z. That's our last name, and there's 4 of us in our family. And I said, we've redone 2 other houses. This is like our 3rd project. This is definitely our most intense like project. But
which is fun because it's like yours, where you guys are gonna and spend time.
Yeah. And I said, we've done these other 2 and we were horrible with before and after and like progress photos. I said, can we please document this? Can you like do something and document it? So she started this Instagram handle, and it's all on there. I don't know what you call it, a reel or a Insta timeline thing.
Channel.
There we go, channel.
Yeah. A feed.
A feed. So
We're 38.
Yeah, go follow us on These Four Walls, W-A-L-Z, and you can check out the progress.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Tyler, as we close, we'd like to do this little segment here called Unpaid Advertisements.
All right.
And so this is just something that you absolutely love. You haven't been paid to pitch it.
Oh my gosh. We have not talked about this.
Let's hear it.
I'm so glad you asked.
Good.
Can I just go right into it?
Right now.
Desi Murphy Pottery. So we talk about like all these great food options down in the metro. And there are some great ones here in St. Cloud. Like, I'm not trying to bash St. Cloud food scene. It's just the metro, you get this different level of culinary experience. I want more cool things in like the St. Cloud area to go do, like people that are just really, really good at their craft. And again, there are some great ones, but I'm just saying, sometimes you got to search a little harder. I came across Desi Murphy Pottery. I was out in St. Joe. We were with the kids, probably getting ice cream or something.
When?
This summer.
Right.
It was like July.
Yeah.
I walked through the co-op. I'd never been in the co-op out there. And I'm like, let's just check it out here, see what they got in here. Little grocery store. Walking through, I see this beautiful pottery. I'm not like a pottery guy. It's not like my thing, but it just caught my eye. I'm like, this stuff is so cool looking. I would love to have this stuff. I signed up for her little mailer list and put my email down. About a month after that, I'm at your house and we're over for dinner. You guys are cooking. You asked me to like go grab some plates or something out of the cupboard. I open it up and I go, where did you get these? Because they're not like Target plates, right?
No.
They're expensive because they're beautiful and they're handmade. Handmade.
And they'll last forever.
Yes, and they're just awesome.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, Desi Murphy. I go, yeah, I know. So then, anyway, fast forward a few months after that, I get this email probably in January or February of this year. And it was like, hey, it's from Desi Murphy. We're offering pottery classes. Sign up. And I was like, what a great little Valentine's gift for Chris and I. So I signed us up for a class mid-March to go make plates at her studio.
That's really sweet.
And it was out of my comfort zone. I was like, this will be fun, but we went and got dinner before and then went over there. And she's got this really cool little studio. I guess it used to be like Curry Photography.
Yep.
So we go over there, something different, right? For the St. Cloud area, something just unique to do. And I was expecting, it'd be fun, whatever. I loved it. She like taught you, she had you roll out the sheets of clay, taught you how to make the plates. She was like, just had this really cool story. Like we hung around after and like just kind of chatted with her, just one-on-one. And she had this cool story about how she got into it. It was basically born out of COVID. Like she was working as a nurse and like going to school to be an NP. And she just decided like she was doing it on the side. She went to school for it. And she just was like, hey, she told her husband, I think I want to do this full time. And he said, do it.
Yeah.
And she quit her NP program, took a chance to go do this.
It's an incredible story.
Yeah. I loved her story, which made me like love it even more, just like getting to know that background on her. But that's my shout out, my advertisement is go look up Desi Murphy Pottery. Her website is beautiful. Her stuff is beautiful. I learned that she does like custom things. She had this custom like teapot and custom mugs.
Our whole set was a custom set.
It's it's awesome stuff. So like that is something where I will fully support that. Actually, we're going on Sunday to glaze our plates.
Oh, fun.
So we made them. She dried them or whatever.
How many plates do you get out of whatever?
We each got one. Chris and I each got one. But then she said, if you want to do extra plates, like you can just pay extra, which we did. We made 2 each.
That's cool.
So made these plates. We're gonna go glaze them on Sunday.
What color?
And I think we're gonna do black.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's my free advertisement.
Wonderful. Well, I mean, I also am a big fan. Hey, Desi.
Yeah.
If you want to eat your breakfast and your lunch and your dinner off of something like really special that's handmade,
Yes.
10 out of 10 would recommend. Well, awesome. My unpaid advertisement for the day is for a book that I just finished reading called The Lincoln Highway. Go and check it out. It's a fun kind of coming of age story. It's about 2 brothers who all of a sudden are alone in the world, and they kind of need to figure out how to make it. And they think they're going west, and they end up in New York City. And I don't usually read a lot of stories like that, but it was a really awesome coming of age story. The Lincoln Highway was 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Actually, I think I actually rated it when I journal. I write about the books I read. I think I gave it like a 9.1 or something, just because it's it can't be perfect, but
Read it. I own it. No, I never read it.
yeah, it's really, really good. I'd recommend it. Tyler, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, man.
Really, really appreciate it a lot. And we'll see you soon, maybe for Friday dinner sometime.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thanks brother.
Everybody.